When working with early stage home care agency owners, one of the most common questions our firm gets asked is, how do I grow my patient base? In today's video, I'm going to discuss the top 3 things you could do to grow your patient census. These strategies will apply for both skilled and non-skilled agencies. If you're at a point where you feel like you're not growing the way you want to, this is the video for you. Before thinking about growth, it's really important that you have a good grasp of all of the basic operations of your agency. If you grow fast with bad infrastructure, it's like building a house on a bad foundation. At Passive Workforce, we help you start, grow, and sell your business. Our team works with owners to make sure systems are in place so you don't fall apart when you get the growth that you're looking for. In trying to grow your agency, the first thing I advise is to increase the total number of payers your agency has. One thing that agencies that are just getting started out don't really have a good grasp on is that they don't realize that they need to be in network with as many payers as possible. You don't want to be in your community marketing and trying to get patients and not be able to service those patients because you're not in network with that insurance payer. In your particular area, you need to find out who are the top players by volume, by how many patients they have in their network, and you need to know all the payer sources so that as you're getting geared up to get started, you're reaching out to every single provider relations person that you could find in those networks and making sure that you're enrolled. Because once you really start to push your marketing efforts, you don't want a call coming in and that person having Blue Cross Blue Shield and you're not in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield, because that's a wasted effort, whether you were going doctor to doctor and getting referrals or it was just an ad campaign. Someone calling you for your efforts and not being able to convert on that referral is just a stupid way for you to lose out on a potential referral. The things that might actually get in the way of you getting into network with a provider or with an insurance provider, that is that sometimes the panels are closed. They're not adding any new providers. There's ways around that. One of the ways that you can get around that is by having another provider reaching out to their provider relations specialist and advocating for you to be included in their network. For example, let's just say that you're working with a physician that is in the Blue Cross Blue Shield network, has a large patient base, and they want to work with your home care agency because you provide phenomenal physical therapy, and they won't have it any other way. They can push from their end to get you invited or welcomed into that network, even though that network is closed. If you're a home care agency that's just providing personal care, you're going to want to make sure that your agency is registered with Medicaid, because in many states, it's the Medicaid department that's managing long-term care, and they'll have managed Medicaid in your particular area. So if you're not already credentialed with Medicaid, you're going to want to go through that credentialing process, because that's going to be a prerequisite for getting in network with the Medicaid managed long-term care providers. The difference is that those Medicaid managed long-term care providers are actually private companies who are managing services for Medicaid. Medicaid is contracting them to manage their patient base, but if you're not in network and credentialed by Medicaid, you are excluded from being a service provider. So take that into consideration when you're trying to ramp up. Make sure all your payers are in order so that you're able to accept as many patients that come your way when you use the next steps. The next thing you should do to grow your patient base is establish yourself as a leader in your community. This goes hand in hand with increasing your visibility and trust in your target markets. A common mistake that we make as agency owners is that we want to service every patient under the sun, right? The more patients you can service, the more money that you're going to make. But one thing that's going to actually help you separate yourself from your competitors is being proficient and exceptional in one track or maybe a few different tracks. This might mean being niche down to a specific disease process, a specific age group, a specific service location, or you might be niche down to a specific ethnic group where there are differences in how to approach a particular ethnic group that your competitors just don't know how to approach. For example, my family's from the Haitian community. So there's going to be nuances with language, with food, with culture, that by understanding that group a little bit better than your competitors, you're able to design better meal plans for your patients, or you're going to be able to manage the social differences that matching a caregiver with a patient requires. Once you decide what tranche or what niche you're going to specialize in, make sure that you make yourself as visible as possible to everybody. Tell everyone what is your service area, or tell everyone what is your area of expertise, and own that. Own that on social media, Own that in your conversations when you're talking to your referral sources. Make sure that when people think diabetes, they think your agency. Or when they think pediatrics, they think your agency. And the only way that you're going to get that sort of community recognition is by saying, this is who I am. I'm the master of pediatrics. And you're going to have to say it loud. You're going to have to say it everywhere. And you're going to have to service that area. If you know that area really well and you become the leader, then everybody kind of falls in line and says, hey, if you want the best treatment for your pediatric family member, friend, etc., you want to work with this agency. The most important thing you can do to grow your agency, and our top tip, is you must establish relationships with consistent referral sources. You have to be tied in with the people who are tied in with your patients. If you've been looking online for ways to grow your agency, one of the things that's going to be recommended is working with referral sources. But what people don't really do is teach you how to work with those referral sources and what really matters to them. When you're thinking about establishing relationships with new referral sources, it's not just showing up to their offices and providing them lunches, etc. You really need to be intertwined with their processes. What I mean by that is that you don't want the referral process to your agency to be more difficult than it has to be. You actually want to make it simpler for that particular referral source. Let me give you an example. If you have a physician and there is a lot of paperwork associated with making a referral, you might provide a service where your staff actually completes that paperwork so that all they need to do is say, send them to Carl's agency, because Carl's agency will do all the paperwork that's necessary and all I have to do is sign on the dotted line, rather than targeting someone where it's going to actually create more work for them. The minute that you're trying to create more work for a referral source, you could kind of kiss that referral source goodbye. Also, another thing that you want to do is align yourself with that referral source's process. For example, I was just talking to a potential referral source who works with people to get them enrolled into Medicaid and then managed long-term care. She doesn't provide services on that long-term care level, but she knows that once she enrolls those clients, they need to go to some agency. And what she wanted to do was find an agency that was aligned with the companies that she works with, so that when she says, I've helped you get enrolled, I now have an agency that is working with me that I can work with to make sure your services start on time and start in the way that you want. Because what ends up happening in enrolling a client like that is that they get enrolled into the insurance, but they still don't have an agency to go to. And that creates additional phone calls for this particular referral source. And she has to do more and more to try to find the placement opportunity for that person that they're supposed to be helping. By inserting ourselves and working alongside her, we eliminate that additional phone call. We eliminate the need to find that agency that's going to take this particular payer or that's going to work with this particular patient. Again, by aligning yourself with their process, you make their life easier, and that helps you grow your patient base. To recap, get a network with as many payers as possible. You don't want to miss out on a potential patient because you can't accept their insurance. Be visible and exceptional at something. If people don't trust you and don't see you, you'll never be seen as an option. Lastly, build relationships with referral sources that are well connected in your ideal area or with your ideal patient. Make sure you're helping them by simplifying their workflow. People will follow the path of least resistance, and let that path be your agency. If you found this information helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with the people that you work with so you're all on the same page. Also, if you want help mapping out your growth strategy, use the link in the description of this video to schedule a call with our passive workforce team. Until the next one, take care.